We tell teenagers people with no income, no collateral, and usually no real understanding of finance to sign up for tens of thousands of dollars in debt before they've earned their first serious paycheck. Then we act surprised when the numbers spiral out of control. Today, Americans owe about $1.66 trillion in student loans. Roughly 43 million borrowers are still carrying education debt. And the problem isn't just the balance. It is what happens when repayment restarts and reality hits. Serious student loan delinquency has climbed sharply, with about 9.6% of balances now 90 days or more delinquent. That is the part nobody likes to talk about. Because unlike a house, you can't sell your diploma to pay off the lender. Unlike a car, there is no useful collateral to repossess. And unlike many other debts, student loans are notoriously hard to escape in bankruptcy. So what looked like an investment in the future has turned into a long-term drag on millions of adults trying to build a normal life. Now let's move from bad debt to ugly debt. Credit cards. This is where the whole story starts to get dangerous. Credit card balances in the United States have now reached about $1.28 trillion. That is another all-time high. And this isn't just people buying luxury handbags and beach vacations. A lot of this borrowing is far less glamorous. It is groceries, utilities, car repairs, rent gaps, basic survival. That is what makes this trend so worrying. People aren't just borrowing to consume more. Increasingly, they're borrowing because their incomes are not stretching far enough. At the same time, credit card interest rates remain brutally high. So once people fall behind, they don't just have a debt problem, they have a compounding debt problem. And delinquency data is starting to reflect that pressure. According to the New York Fed, credit card distress remains elevated, with serious delinquency hovering near post-2008 highs. That is not what a healthy consumer backdrop is supposed to look like. So when analysts celebrate strong consumer spending, it is worth asking a very simple question. How much of that spending is actually funded by income? And how much of it is being financed at 20% interest? Because those are two very different economies. And just when you thought modern borrowing couldn't get any more creative, along came the softest, prettiest version of debt. Yet, buy now, pay later. You've seen it everywhere. Split your purchase into 4 payments. No stress. No pain. Just click here and pretend this isn't borrowing. But, let's be honest, this is not some revolutionary financial innovation. It is still credit. It is just credit with better branding, cleaner apps, and friendlier colors. And while the CFPB's latest data shows the market isn't imploding, it does show something important. BNPL use is becoming more frequent. In 2023, major providers served 53.6 million users, and the average user took out 6.3 loans per lender in a single year. That tells you exactly where this is heading. Debt is being repackaged as convenience. And once a society gets comfortable financing small everyday purchases in installments, the line between spending and borrowing starts to disappear. That is the bigger issue. Because when you step back and look at the US economy through the lens of debt, the whole picture starts to change. The stock market at highs. Okay, consumer spending holding up. Sure. GDP still growing. Fine. But if more and more of that activity is being supported by government borrowing, household leverage, revolving balances, and installment finance, then maybe this isn't real strength. Maybe it is borrowed momentum. Maybe the economy isn't booming nearly as much as it appears. Maybe it is just getting very good at hiding the bill. And that is what makes credit crises so dangerous. They usually don't begin with one giant explosion. They begin quietly. A missed payment here. A maxed out card there. A student loan borrower falling behind. A homeowner tapping equity. A family financing groceries in 4 installments. A government rolling over debt and calling it normal. Individually, each one looks manageable. Collectively, they tell a very different story. So yes, on the surface, America still looks strong. But underneath that surface, the cracks are spreading. Because this country is not just spending money. It is borrowing against the future to preserve the present. And at some point, that trick stops working. When that happens, we won't discover that the economy was strong. We'll discover it was leveraged. And those are not the same thing.